I thought you were gonna intro. Hi, friends.
Oh,
Sorry.
hi friends. Happy Tuesday.
This is why we don't do it together anymore, y'all.
This is our first Dream Team chat of November because we did not meet last week. And it's our first Dream Team chat here and in person in a while. And we are a little bit rusty and hopefully entertaining to you guys at the least.
Yeah.
We have been over the last few months moving and grooving through series. Like each month we've picked a series to follow for our Dream Team chats. And so this month we really wanted to, because it's a shorter month with 3 weeks, dive into Scentsy's core values and how that aligns with your business tasks and your business growth. We think it's really important that we are aligning our business with Scentsy's core values because they are founded for a reason. Simplicity, authenticity, and generosity are the 3 pillars that Scentsy stands on. And so when you can align your business with simplicity, authenticity, and generosity, you're really setting yourself up for a healthy business with a strong foundation. And it allows you room to grow and lead and stretch. And so we hope that by talking about these core values and how it directly relates to your business, that you will get some inspiration to maybe dial things down and amp things up where appropriate in regards to simplicity, authenticity, and generosity. Starting this week with simplicity, which to me, simplicity and authenticity have been a learning curve in my Scentsy journey. In this 9 years in business and generosity too. They've all been areas that I've really learned and stretched and grew in. But simplicity was one that I've really struggled with on and off throughout the years. And I don't feel like I've really mastered it or gotten to a point where I'm like, yes, this is what I do and this works for me and it's simple, until the last maybe 2 or 3 years. But over the last 2 or 3 years, I have really simplified my business and dialed down a lot. And then also added things in, still very simply, but also added things in such a way that my business, I could write down everything that I do on a piece of paper. Okay. It is very simple. There might be a lot of things. It might take time, but it is very simple. And so we're going to dive into simplicity this week, and then next week, generosity, and the final week of November, authenticity. So that's what you can look forward to over the next 3 weeks with us. And we're so glad you're here. Tonight, we're diving in straight to simplicity. So I'm going to kick it off with you.
Yep.
My girl.
Okay. So I do this all the time with y'all. I'm a big words person and I like to know the definition of words. And so I want to make sure that we are on a level playing field as far as understanding what the word simple means. So I looked it up and it's easily understood or done, presenting no difficulty.
Oh,
yeah. So I love that.
Love that.
Yeah. And I think that if we take that definition, and I literally just looked it up, but I think that if we do take this definition and apply it to what I'm talking about tonight, and then apply it to our business, the outcome will be good. Okay. And I am very much in the same boat as Alex, where I feel like I started out maybe not overcomplicating things, but it definitely was not something that felt super simple. And it was fun and I was managing, but I also recognized that trying to duplicate it for others was a difficult process. And that's going to be one of the focus points tonight, is duplication. Okay. So I'm going to go through these points, and really it's just steps on how to simplify your business, but also recognizing that simplicity and what that means to you versus what it means to me versus what it means to Alex may look different. Okay. Your idea of simple may look completely different, and it's a little bit more complex in its steps or whatever. Okay. But what I want you to do is, if you think that your systems that you have in place, because really all of these tasks that we're asking you to look at and to potentially rectify or potentially amp up a little bit, all of those should be a system of yours that you are using, or should equal a system in your business. Okay, so just as an example, I'm not going to go into detail about this, but as an example, your fun mail. Okay, what does your system look like for getting fun mail ready and getting it out the door? Okay, what does that system look like? And so that might be the example that I use tonight. But going through this, I want you to just ask yourself these questions as I go through these focus points, and ask yourself honestly. And this is where it's also really great to have an accountability partner, because like I said, I felt like I was really overcomplicating things, but having Alexx and being able to look at her business and talk to her and ask questions and see what she's doing allowed me to where I feel like I'm in a much more comfortable position of simplifying my business, but I'm not 100% there. I definitely think that I need to be asking myself some of these questions and seeing where I can pull back. I don't need to be adding anything necessarily, but pulling back. Okay. So I don't think that any of us have arrived at the perfect destination of simplicity. It's always going to be a work in progress because times are always changing. Okay, our business is kind of ebbing and flowing, and it's growing, and what we're using in our business looks different from month to month, year to year. And so just recognize that this is an ongoing thing, and you don't have to have it all figured out. Okay, so the first thing here is defining what simplicity looks like to you. What does a simple business look like for you? And I also want to make the distinction that simple does not equal easy. Okay. And so when we're talking about like duplication or looking at, like Alexx said, she could write down on a piece of paper everything that she does in her business, but it may be a lot of things, which does not equate that it's easy to do, right? It's going to be time consuming, or it's things that requires her to do this or do that, and those aren't her favorite tasks. And so simple does not equal easy. Okay. So recognizing what that looks like for you and your business is step number one. Okay, so different systems, different areas of your business. Is it simple, and what does simple mean to you? Is it something that you can do without feeling burnt out, right? Which to me would be the goal. My tasks in my business, I need it to be something that I replicate easily, and because I know what to do, I know what the steps are, and I'm not facing burnout or feeling overwhelmed by doing it. Okay. So the next focus point is going to be implementing it. Okay. So what I want you to do is take the systems that you have in place, take the areas of your business that know you can do, or that you've been doing, right? So if it's fun mail, if every time you get a PWS email, you're sending that text message of gratitude, or if it's delivering orders, if it's your placing the order schedule, if it's hosting parties, like any of those systems, anything that you're doing in your business, I want you to think about, is there anything that you can cut back? So when you're looking at, if you were to write down fun mail and do like the little spider bubbles that I love so much, right?
Me too.
Yeah, right. Fun mail. And then you spider it out with all the different lines and more bubbles. And you say, okay, well, I need envelopes, and I need stamps, and I need my order history tab, and I need labels, and I need scent circles, and I need my printouts, and all those areas. Is there any of those areas that you look at, if you were to list it out and say, I can cut back, that's really not a necessity? I don't need to have that as part of this system. Okay. And I'm not just talking about fun mail, but just any of these areas. And what I want you to measure your threshold for being able to cut back, or if you need to add more to it, because that's also, you have to ask yourself, is my system serving its purpose? Is it fulfilling what it needs to fulfill, while also simultaneously not making me feel overwhelmed or burnt out every time I do it? Okay. And so in conjunction with that, how you can measure if you need to cut back in some of those areas or add on is measure it by the time that it takes you to do it. And some things require more time, right? Like fun mail varies for me. It depends on how much fun mail I have to do. And so, but I know that it shouldn't take me 2 hours to do fun mail, right? That's too much time. So if I say on average it takes me 2 hours, then I know I need to cut back on something to allow myself not to have to spend 2 hours on fun mail, because 2 hours on fun mail sounds like absolute terribleness. I don't want to do that.
Right. And let me add that I think time, as far as simplicity, is where a lot of us get hung up. Okay. Because we can get beautiful ideas on fun mail and know what to do. It's either it taking too much time or carving out the time to do it.
Right.
And also not carving out the time to do it. So then when you do it, it takes so much time. So a
Right.
lot of this figuring out simplicity does circle right back to those systems and habits that you create in your business. So time isn't the factor that is holding you back on creating these systems in your business for fine tuning it in a way that it can be simple. And so I think also a lot of it is the what is it called, where it's like you have so much to do, so then you just don't.
Analysis paralysis.
Yes, analysis paralysis, right?
Right.
So it's like you want your business to look simple. You want to do this. It could be simple, but you just don't do it yet.
Yeah.
I also think that's such a hindrance. And so even taking it a step further, like, okay, not fun mail postcards, right? Like anything to step you into the direction that you're wanting to go, but
Yeah.
like one small habit at a time.
Yeah.
You know, if sending out fun mail weekly and getting all these things together is so daunting to you, but you want to do it, okay, well, where can you fit that in? Can you do emails instead? Can you do a postcard with a scented sticker and a postcard stamp, right? Time, money, and then the details, I think, are kind of what really hold us back when implementing it.
Right. And I can tell you one thing that takes up too much of my time that I've tried to slowly cut out is like creating the graphics for my fun mail, like the flyers that I put in my fun mail. It's like there was a time where I was trying to create those on my own, and it's like we're in a business where a lot of that stuff other consultants are really great at and can knock it out like that, and it looks beautiful. And so don't recreate the wheel.
Yeah.
And that's true for a lot of these systems.
Yep.
Where you can step into it going, okay, this is what I want my end result to be. I want to be able to follow up, but I don't have any means of being able to do that, or I don't know where to start. But you've got the Scentsy Connect app where it makes it super easy. You've got your order history tab. You've got the reorder business report, right? So it's like, don't recreate the wheel by coming up with a whole new system on how to follow up when you have 3 perfectly good ways to do so.
Yep.
Right. So yes, measuring your systems, measuring your tasks in your business by the time that it's taking you. Is it something that is worthy of taking up this much time? Or can I cut back? Or do I need to add to it? Right? Am I only spending 5 minutes a day following up? That's probably not enough.
Right.
You know, and is it producing the results I want? No, because I'm not getting the PRV that I needed for today.
Right.
So my follow-up is actually not doing what I needed to do.
Right.
Okay. So that's how you have to look at it from like 30,000 feet above, and really ask yourself, is it producing what I needed to produce, or am I on the right track? And later on down the road, I can add to it. And that's the thing, is that's the wonderful thing. You can always add and you can always subtract.
Yeah.
Okay. So don't get in your head too much about it, but just in this moment, we're looking at simplicity, and the goal being that you have a list of tasks in front of you, and that you are completing what you need to complete to continue on the forward path of your business. And I love it because Jennifer Anderson, at a retreat that I went to with her, was talking about how she's had all these systems in place for years that have served its purpose, and now she's been able to cut her systems like in half, because now her business is automatically working in the background, and she just slowly like cut back on some of the stuff. And so she's doing half the work and producing just as much.
Yeah.
Right. And so when you have a business that's long term, that's what it can do.
Absolutely.
Right. So if you work it smartly and work it simplistically.
Right. And just like a tangible example of that exact thing with Jennifer Anderson being able to cut back some systems. As I've built my business, I'm like 9 years in business now. I built my business on parties, home parties, Facebook parties, events where I could, fundraisers where I could, and I still do those, and they're still very important. Let me make that very clear.
Right.
I built my business on those, increased my customer base, PRV on that. Now, 9 years later in my business, because I have years and years and years and years and years and years and years of parties under my belt, my PRV is maintaining at an incredible pace.
Yeah.
And I'm doing maybe 1 or 2 parties a month
Right.
now to maintain that, to add to my customer base, right? I still need to do that. I will always need to do that forever and amen, but I'm not needing to have 6 or 8 parties
Right.
a month anymore
Right. To
to
sustain.
grow
Yeah.
my customer
Yeah.
base, right? Now I have thousands of customers in my business in a given year because of all of that hard work and my systems back then that I've been able to kind of cut back on a bit.
Yep.
So,
100%.
yeah.
So that's how you can start to implement simplicity, is looking at the systems you already have and kind of just taking notice of where simplicity can really be a value, or where some things need to be added to get you on the right track to the results that you want. Okay. So the next one is probably my favorite one because I have a really good example for it. And this is something that I think I want to focus on the most, but also my highest improved area is duplication. Okay.
Mm.
So the idea that our systems in a perfect world are made to be duplicatable for the next person, right? Because that's kind of the whole point, is this arrows out mentality where we're helping the next person create the business of their dreams here at Scentsy, right? And so if you are bringing somebody along and you are their sponsor, whatever systems you have in place, you want to kind of be able to lend them as a legacy of how you've created your business. And let me tell you, if it is complicated as all get out, right? If they don't know which way is up, which way is down, based off of your text message on how you do fun mail or how you do an email or how you follow up with your customers, we've got a problem.
Yeah.
Right? Because you are that person's sponsor. So they're going to be looking at you first. Sure, that may work for you, but to be able to come up with a system or come up with a duplicatable process to be able to hand to the people who come up after you is so important. Because what my favorite thing is to be able to tell my new consultant, this is how I've done it and it works.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't like when I have to say, well, I've never done that, or I haven't been doing that for very long. So, I mean, we all start somewhere, but like, I like being able to say, no, that's the result you want. Cool. I've been doing this and I got the same results.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So having a system that is easy, having a process, not easy, having a process that is duplicatable. And my example to this, and okay, wait, let me back up. Not just your consultants that you are going to sponsor need a duplicatable
Mm-hmm.
system or process to follow. Your customers who may one day become consultants, or your customers who are, maybe wanting to be a party host, they want to know that it's not going to be super complicated or overwhelming for you to come and set up a party at their house. Mm-hmm. And thanks to Alexx and the team that was here when I joined, I learned home parties, and like, they were my bread and butter. I love home parties and I have a lot of them. But back then it was pretty dang complicated to get a home party together. I made it seem like it was super easy. And I told my people, I'm just going to come, I'll bring some things, going to set up, it'll be fun, whatever. And I would say that, but then I would pull up in their driveway, rolling a duffel bag with 7 totes on my arm, sweating from bringing in so much Scentsy. And it would take me an hour. I'd have to get there at least an hour before the party started to set up. Mm-hmm. And it took me the full hour. Okay, to set up and to get ready for this home party that was going to last 2 hours. And then I had to take an hour. It literally was an all day thing for me to do a party. And I loved it. I loved it. But was my customer looking at me being like, do you need help? Are you okay? And it's like, let me help you out. And their husbands had to like help carry stuff out for me. It's like, no, that was not the simple way of doing a home party. No. Right? But you live and you learn. And now I can tell my consultants who come after me that like, less is more, bring as less as you can. Like, it's okay. Because I recognize that process, that home party process to my customers was not duplicatable. Mm-hmm. So if at that party we started to have a joint conversation and they're like, do I have to do parties? And they have this like deer in the headlight look, I'm like, oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Yes, but not like me, like you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And so looking at what you are doing, and if you would be able to tell it to somebody in under 3 minutes.
And would you be able to explain the steps
Right,
clearly with
right.
direction? That's a really good indicator that you have a simple process or habit or system for your business. Is, can you write it on a piece of paper with steps?
Could you tell it to somebody who doesn't know anything about Scentsy and have them understand?
Right. Those are really great indicator questions if you're tracking in the right direction.
Right. And the key parts there is having it available for somebody to understand and also turn around and replicate.
Right.
It's like the game of telephone. It's like if I give you these directions, can you do it? And then can you explain it to the next person to do it? Now, not every business is going to look the same. I've taken things from Alexx, made it my own, passed it on. It's not that it all has to look the same, but your job as a leader and as a consultant is to provide the information and let them do with it what they will. But if you're providing information that is every which way and it's confusing as all heck, it's no good. It's no good. They're going to go looking for other direction. And that's also okay. But if they come to you first, you want to make sure that what you're giving them is clear.
Yep.
Okay. And so that's my 3 things, which is implementing it by measuring it by your time and resources, duplication. Oh, sorry, implementing it, measuring it, and duplication. Okay. And all of that circles back to, we've said it a million times, and I actually didn't really mean to focus on it, but it does all come back to your systems. It all does come back to those tasks that you're doing in your business, what they represent as far as goals, and how simple those things are laid out for you to be able to do and for you to be able to pass on. Okay. That is the goal. That is the goal in your business, is to simplify over time. Doesn't all happen overnight. Okay. So give yourself some time to scale back or to add on, like Alexx said, and take things one step at a time, but really evaluate. And if you don't know where to start, do the things you need to do this week in your business. And when you get frustrated or overwhelmed when you're doing a certain task, write it down.
Yep.
That's an area you need to focus on simplifying.
Yep. And to even like broaden that out, like as you're working this week, like write down every task you do.
Oh yeah. So
yeah. So then you can maybe even get some color coding going on, get some time blocking going on, get some efficiency going on. Can you do this and this while you're here? This that you did Monday and this that you did Wednesday. If you do that weekly, can you do all that at one point? Because it's in the same area of your internet or whatever. Where can you, with the things that you're doing, fine tune, simplify, and create some habits and systems for you? I think that will be a really great visual way to see. But be honest with yourself in there too. Track when you sat down for 45 minutes and were scrolling on your phone instead of scheduling posts, or when you start cleaning out your office instead of sending follow-ups, things like that. So you can also recognize, where are my distractions, so I can simplify that as well.
Yeah. And honestly, you might need to simplify your workspace, or simplify, clutter in your house, or simplify your Scentsy stock, or, like any of those things.
Or simplify your ideas. Sometimes you just have to slow down and focus on 1 or 2 things, right? And so I'll always guide you to focus on those income producing activities, things that are going to get you sales, bookings, recruits, helping your recruits. Those are income producing. So I would say focus those systems there first. But there might be things that, they got to go. So
That's it.
That's it.
That's it for keeping it real simple over here with this
Yes.
Dream Team chat.
We love it.